Cool. So we got the broadcast going for the quarter moon session. Good. All right, here's our notes. Perfect. All right. Oh, but I need the recording. Oops. Let's get the recording here. Perfect. All right. Oh. All right. Okay, so obviously we were not early or on time. And we're starting about 15 minutes late again. So we'll get, no, that's fine. So this would be 6:15. I don't think anyone checked in or messaged us that I can remember.
No.
All right, so for the positions, can you help with video indexing?
Yes, I will.
And then what about work priorities master? Should I do that? Okay. So check-ins. Let's do our check-ins.
Check-ins, okay. Can I check in?
Yeah.
Like 5.5. Very early, yeah. Like 3 a.m. I feel glad to join the session. I've been working on budgets, working forms, and payroll.
Well,
Vijay, can you check in?
I'm probably like a 6.6, maybe a 6.7, and I am doing okay. Definitely have a lot on my plate as usual. Lots going on. Been working on some of Vienna's finances. I've also been, we did the Mercury session. And I've been working on some overall planning and also been doing some of the mission within. Yeah. And of course, like budget, taxes, and finances, and payroll, and all the other good jazzy jazz stuff. Lots. Worker coordination. All right, so that looks good. So then the next step is attendance. I think here at the top is fine, but then we want to organize here. We have a lot of people missing. The goal would be that eventually everybody would be checking in if they're not attending. So we want to figure out how to improve upon that. So I guess it's just me and you.
Yeah.
Huh. Says I can't remove Lucy. I don't know, it's not working. I don't seem to be able to remove Lucy. Not worried about it. All right, so We got our attendance, our comm groups updated. How about strikes?
Yeah, I did. I've already updated the strikes.
Do we have any strikes?
Yes, was honored.
Donad, of course. Yes.
You said Teresa, she didn't respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then rankings, we would have myself and then Albina. All right. So I definitely want to spend some time on the value and the value distribution. I think that would be good, especially when we go to all the trouble to be present and available, you know? And so in the future, it should be as fast as all the other things, right? But since we're so new at it, we're still learning how to do the value. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a value. I don't remember what. Let me look at the other. A value in team equity doc. So we want to create a value in team equity doc. So that's the first step. From there, we're gonna have, I think we already have a template team equity spreadsheet. So let's just go ahead and take a few minutes here, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And let's see what there is here. So team equity would be under, what would it be under? Something we don't look at very often. Remember?
Is it under value tracking?
Value tracking, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. We just haven't done value tracking for a very long time.
Yeah.
So this is good. Okay. So session meeting value tracking. So this session meeting value tracking, I believe, should be for our session credits.
Mm-hmm.
Session value tracking input spreadsheet. So this should be very long and include lots of sessions. Let's see if that's correct. May. No. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, this is it. Cool. So just a simple form. So you have the description of the session, categories, and then you have the name, distribution, points. Perfect. Okay. So this is what we call session credits, right? So this is session credits. But what we're doing is not session credits. We are doing team equity. Planetary value tracking spreadsheets. So this looks pretty good. Monthly, daily, perfect. Okay, so this is where we're going to be working in. Individual value, planetary, monthly, weekly, daily. Types of value tracking messaging, supplier project, history, value tracking. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up like the Venus session. Okay. So what we have here is, you know, name or total percentage, money, hours, log, and then we have the breakdown, okay?
Yeah.
So this is actually session credits based. So at the beginning of the session, we're primarily going to focus on hours and value-based hours.
Yeah.
And then turn it into session credits. So that's our overall goal. So let's go back to our notes. Whoops.
Sure.
So our overall goal is at the beginning of the session to focus on hours. And then turn that into value. And then at the end, we turn it into credits and tokens. All right, so credits and tokens at the end, hours and equity at the beginning.
Okay.
And equity. So this would be session credits and overall tokens. So so what we want to do is we want to have we're going to want to create a new template team equity spreadsheet. I'll just call it session team equity spreadsheet. And we don't have that right now, but we're going to slowly but surely build that. So let's just start by duplicating the one from the Mercury session. So I just come over here to the Mercury session.
Okay.
And then I go ahead and duplicate this. And then I'm going to copy this onto our notes for now. So what would happen is if we had the value and team equity doc, then everything will be linked to the value and team equity doc. Okay.
I don't think we have one. Let me look for it.
Well, no, we don't have one. It's new. So
can I create one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So then what we're going to have is we're going to have a today is the quarter moon session, so it's a steering team team equity spreadsheet. So most likely, this process will involve creating new team equity spreadsheets every X number of months or every half year. Definitely every half year because everything works in half years. Mm-hmm. But sometimes even more often than that. All right, so for this, we can just delete everybody else. Delete.
Yeah.
So it's just me and you. We could say we started at 6:25, and let's say we go for 2 hours. That would be maybe we go to 8. Cool. So that would be.
I linked the doc there.
What?
I linked the doc there.
Oh, great.
Value and team doc.
So this would be steering team. And this is Quater.
Last quote.
22. Cool. All right. So we would want to link all of these docs to the the doc you just created, right? All the spreadsheets linked to the doc you created. Okay, so
the spreadsheet is not accessible.
The one I just created?
Yeah.
All right. There.
Okay.
It should be working now.
Yeah, thank you. We also need to link the Mercury spreadsheet. Or no?
Yes, let's link the Mercury one too. Okay, so Do you want to? I think we're okay for now, but if we want to keep going, there's a couple things I could show you here that are important.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to go a little more deeper detail?
Yeah, please.
All right. So for just pure simple hours, here's the breakdown, right? So this would be just simple hours. But in reality, we don't just have simple hours. There is other aspects that we can consider. And so that starts with jurisdiction rate. Then you also have actual pay. And then you've got, the difference. Then you've got, what we call it, your 2x, day/night overtime. Right, so based on, like, we pay people overtime for working in the middle of the night. So even though we don't have that budgeted upfront pay, in our equity and our valuation systems, everyone gets overtime for working for global sessions. It's not true for normal sessions, just for global sessions at this point, based on our policies. So the first question would be actual pay. So for me, I'm getting about $800 divided by 4 divided by 30, so it's about $6 an hour. Probably a little less than that when you include the other things, so maybe like $4 an hour. How much are you getting?
209 divided by.
Well, it would be your actual pay.
Actual pay is 209.
209. Well, let's just put 209 then. Okay.
Divide by 17.5. 2.99.
2.99, like that?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So I believe your jurisdiction is 600, right?
Yeah, 600.
So it would be, we just went over this yesterday. If you pass the proposal, it'd be 250,000 for 4 years, for 4 types, divided by 12 months. Well, actually, and then 4 weeks per month divided by 30. So it's $10.85. $10.85 an hour. All right, so let me double check that just to make sure. So it's $250,000 for 4 years at full time. So you divide by 4 years, you divide by 4 types of value, and that gives you 1 year. So it's $15,000 a year divided by 12 months, $1,300 a month divided by 4 weeks divided by 30 hours a week is $10.85 an hour. Okay?
Yeah.
So for me, I would be doing 2 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, with this new model. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you divide that by 4, you divide by 4, and then you divide by 12, and then you divide by 4, and then you divide by 30, which gives you 8680. All right, so then you would see what the let me think here. So I would be at 1x and you are at 2x. So I don't think we need this delete. So then we have let's just put 1 to 2x for night. And then we should be able to just simply calculate this all out. So then this would be like actual value, okay? So then the actual value of the work that you're doing based on the hours, right, would be your total jurisdictional pay rate times the number of the X that you're working, right? So in my case, it's 1x. And then this would be multiplied by the number of hours, total hours. That's what I did. So all of that multiplied by the number of hours minus the actual pay. So it'll be the total hours times the actual pay. Okay. So basically, here's your jurisdiction rate. This is the amount you're actually making, and then you're subtracting out the actual pay that you actually got paid to make it correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So I think this looks good. I think this looks more or less correct. And I mean, obviously these numbers are ridiculously different in terms of like the valuation, but that's just based on what we would need to live off. So you having getting $65 is equivalent to me getting $289 minus some of these pay rates. Cool. So I think that's correct.
Yeah.
You know, and getting $10.85 an hour for your jurisdiction is pretty good. The next one would be 100,000. So someone who's in the next jurisdiction down, which we currently have nobody, will be $100,000 divided by 4 years, divided by 4 equity types, divided by 12 months, divided by 4 weeks, divided by 30 hours a week is $4.34.
Yeah.
So it goes $4.34, and the next level is $10.85. We don't have anything in between for the global rates.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So then from there, what happens is that we have equal hours. So this is the team equity percentages. That doesn't change. And then when you have the jurisdictional rate, the jurisdictions are actually different equity pools. So in order for me to get $65 of your jurisdictional equity, I would have to subtract that from mine. So I would only get $224 in my jurisdiction, right? And then you would be getting $65 in your jurisdiction and $65 in my jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll go through that later in the future. But basically mine would be 2 million, and yours would be the 250,000.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the global jurisdiction. So there's local jurisdiction and there's global jurisdiction.
Okay.
So the global jurisdictions, there's only 4 right now, whereas local, there could be hundreds. So the idea of this is basically to have the value. So this is the value, this is the percentage based on hours, and then this is the value of those hours. And then the network equity is going to be, let's look it up real quick, might as well since we're here. So we go to Wikipedia. And this would be the full moon.
Is it full moon?
Lunar calendar. So this is it right here. The nation is approximately 29.5 days, 29.5, da, 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 da. So we take this and we divide it by 4 because there's 4 weeks, which gives us 7.38. So the network equity for this particular session is 7.382647.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So anyways, we definitely need to improve some of this. So we got started with the jurisdiction, then the tokens would come after that. What do I think? I think this is all pretty good.
Yes.
And it certainly could use more details. Let's just call this, instead of actual values, call it equivalent value.
So do we add them together or we just distribute according to the session separately?
What do you mean?
Like now for Watermoon, then the Mercury, we had the one from Mercury. Do we add them together or how?
We would add them together at the network equity level.
Oh, okay.
So if you have let's see, Albina. So if Albina's got 142 value credit hours, these are hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes. This is hours. So you would have 142 hours from the Mercury session, plus you would get 12.91 hours for this the quarter minute. Right?
Yeah.
So you can see how much more important the Mercury session is than the quarter minute.
Yeah. Kindly help me the Mercury spreadsheet so that I link on the doc. I don't see it on the Mercury doc.
Okay, I'll get it. Okay. Oh, I had it here. Here it is. So I just added it at the bottom there.
Yes, not accessible.
Yeah, okay, I'll fix that. So when we start doing network equity, we just have, all we have to do is just, it will be a separate spreadsheet, right? So we create a separate spreadsheet, and then all we have to do is just add up all of the different sessions together, and there you go. You know, so it's pretty simple to figure out the network equity, and it's all based on hours. So another way to think about it is that even though I had the equivalent value of $289, like imagine if this was in the middle of the night for me, it would be $593, right?
Yeah.
Even though I have that value and you have $65 value, the way to think about it is that in the ownership of the company, we have equal power. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So our power is equal, and even though I get more money, it doesn't in any way reflect on the ownership and the direct equivalency of our power in the organization, because they're equivalent. You getting $65 is the equivalent of me getting $289 based on our jurisdictions. It's no more or less money. It just is that it is actually just, it just costs more money for me to live. For whatever reason in our world, this is how it works, you know? So it's really weird, but as far as the power and the ownership of the organization, the control of the organization, we're equal. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So this is definitely still not perfect. There's still a bunch of things missing, but this at least gives you the basic rundown of how this works.
Sure.
Yeah. And so then from there, we get our network equity, and then we can calculate our tokens. And then from there, you would add in the session credits and then the tokens, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to play with the tokens really quick, or do you want to just move on?
Yeah, no, we can just go through tokens.
You wanted to go through tokens real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just play a little bit with the tokens. So the first token would be just like session value. So the session value would be based on the hours. So you would have 3.5 hours. And I believe we would want to multiply that by the x. Okay?
Yeah.
Because your hours are equivalent to twice as many as my hours. So you get seven session tokens. You know, so this is just call them session hour tokens. And I would get 3.5. So then we would have the value tokens. So the value tokens you would multiply, you basically would be the equivalency of the value, right? So this would be 289, oops, and yours would be 65. So again, this isn't money anymore, it would just be tokens. So the value tokens would most likely also include points, right? Because we didn't include the points here. And then the last would be session, wait, and then you have, let's just do network equity, network hours. So this would be 12 times equivalency. And then you would have session credits, and then you could have overall. So you could start playing a little bit with how that might all look in terms of the session credits and the overall and how that all works. So I don't know exactly how that all works, but the point is that there's different types of tokens. The session credit tokens are the most important token. And then the second most important tokens are related to the jurisdiction. But again, they're, you know, we still need to figure out how exactly we want to work that all out. But so we would have, you know, tokens that we could issue at the beginning, and then we can also issue tokens at the end of the session.
How do we get column V? Session credits.
Well, this would be based on not just hours, but also the different equivalency of contribution and involvement in the session.
Okay. So that is done at the end of the session?
Well, we're going to start doing it during the session as well as the end, but it's based on all of this stuff that we used to do at the end. So your participation values, so you get a multiplication for participation, and then all the different positions that you're taking on and the work that you did. And then it all turns into your points and the valuation of your session credits.
Okay.
And then that would be there. So we would do that at the end, whereas the session hour tokens would be something that would be easy to distribute at the beginning.
Okay.
So the session hour tokens and the value tokens, I think, are the two most important. So this represents the actual ownership, and this represents the value based on your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And this might have a multiplier. I'm not sure if it has a multiplier or not. You know, but then you have the network tokens, the session credits. Maybe this is session tokens. Session tokens. I don't know. We'll keep playing around with it, but you know, the idea is what can be issued at the beginning and what would be issued at the end. For me, my assumption is that at the beginning, we would be issuing just the session hour tokens and the value tokens.
Yeah.
And maybe even, a little reduced on, and then for the session credits happen at the end and the network tokens happen at the end. And it's possible network tokens only even happen every once in a while. We don't have to do them during a session at all. Cool. Right. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. And most importantly is that it's not just a single session. This would accumulate over multiple quarter moons. So every quarter moon, the steering team adds more and more value to the steering team, and you break it down more and more based on people's involvement and contributions over the course of a month, a quarter, and half year.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're done with that. It's exciting. It's exciting finally getting organized on our session equity and value tracking. We've been needing to do that for a really long time.
Can you make the one for Mercury just view only? Maybe it's not accessible so that someone can understand also. Yeah, thank you. So value and team equity doc, I link to the value tracking project.
What?
Where should I link the value and team equity doc?
We can go under value tracking, and then it's also going to go into the template. So it goes in the template voice session meeting notes.
Okay, yeah.
Under the same location. So it goes under attendance, comm groups, strikes, planning, and values. So you would put the link to the value and team equity doc, so that every single time we can review whatever session that we're on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for prioritization and evaluations, should we go ahead and just use what we did for the Mercury session, or do you want to prioritize different goals? Or I don't know. I guess we could prioritize some new goals.
Oh yeah, we can prioritize new goals.
Okay. I'm also going to do my weekly check-in.
Okay. I just ranked and copied the top 10 priority topics.
Oh, well, I haven't finished voting yet, so maybe just give me a little longer.
Pardon, Jay?
If I could get just a couple more minutes.
You didn't vote?
No.
Oh, sorry. Wait.
Didn't we used to have client invoice? Oh, maybe it was up for this turn too. Right. Okay, I think that should be fine.
Okay. We're picking up to number 10. Or up to 5.
10 is fine.
Okay.
So I think we're ready to move on, right?
Yeah.
So our desired outcomes mean, oh, did you copy? Oh, here we go. All right, so here are priorities. You also would copy our goals from the global core team for the month.
Okay.
So for section 5, we'll be reviewing our new moon goals. And you said you want to go over next month's budget as a desired outcome?
Yeah, I just added that.
Okay, so I also would want to add, to review our value tracking and systems. So that was good. We did that, right? And then I do have a proposal for evolving our strikes. So you might want to continue reviewing proposals from full moon and get certified. That would be good. And then make sure, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's all good. Any concerns with that?
No.
Cool. So it looks like we have agreement on that. So let's move on. Schedule. We just reviewed our schedule for Mercury sessions, so maybe I can just copy and paste it from Mercury.
Yeah, I'll copy it. Yeah.
I got it. Here it is.
Okay.
So also we want to do our top of our breaks and bottom of our stretching. Should be good. And I don't know, how much longer do you want to go? Like, I mean, I'm fine just wrapping up in the next 45 minutes or even less. You could wrap up in a half hour.
That will be fine.
So maybe go like 20, maybe at like 7:40 we wrap up. And then finish no later than, how's that sound? Cool. All right, so it looks good. Any other questions on the schedule?
No.
Okay, do we want to go over the full moon voting?
Yes.
Okay, let's grab that from here as well. So we have the response sheet. Let's see if we got any new votes.
Let me link that. Oh, you have it.
I got it. I just copied it from the session.
Okay.
So verified results are good, but weighted results just are not applicable at all because it's not a budget decision.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go ahead and delete the weighted results, okay?
Okay.
So we only do the weighted results in relationship to the HR board.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So this first one looks like it passes pretty good. The second one just barely passes. But it looks like it does pass in the third. Oh, and obviously people want to pass our holiday bonuses, but that, again, that needs to go to HR board. And then here, 1 hour has the most votes.
Yes, 1 hour.
So let's just go and through this all. So the first proposal is adding time-based budgets, and this passes with a 8.2. So are there any objections with that?
No.
Okay. Great. So then that would now be a decision. And the other proposal automatically creates strategic branches based on conflicts. And that passes with a 6.8. No, we had no no's, so it passes with a 6.8. So it certainly would be good to improve upon that one, so we can review that one in the future, but I think it should be fine. Okay, any other questions about those? And so then for the final proposal is to make the minimum internal umbus client hours is equal to 1 hour. So 1 hour got the most votes. So let's say someone's working for $3 per hour. At 5x, that would be times $3 per hour would equal $15 minimum. And let's just make sure we have that minimum client per month's budget. Right, so that would be that $3. So let's say we had $5 per hour would equal 5x times $5, which would be 25. Right, so we're looking at some sort of minimum between 15 and 25. if we could get the cost down to $2 per hour, that would be 5x times $2, which would equal $10. So, I mean, it's certainly not a lot of time or money. But for example, you know, we might be able to do like our quarter or full moon, like new / full moon session support for, you know, $25 per month. Right? So that would make it so that we potentially, like, that would be able to add in budgets there and be able to add more funds to our potential income for the work that we're doing. So, I mean, I think it's reasonable. The other option obviously would be 2 hours. If you did 2 hours, everything would be doubled. It would be $50. It would basically be you know, $20 to $50 minimum if we did 2 hours. I think 1 hour per month is good. It basically says, okay, if we have a client, we could do 1 hour per month check-in on that client and just review it and then move on. The other reason to do 2 hours would be buddy team. Another reason for 2 hours would be work buddy teams. So if you had 2 people reviewing a client goals for 1 hour, that would equal 2 hours. So technically, if you have a buddy team working on it, it would be, for 1 hour, would only be a half an hour of actual work.
Yeah.
So we probably are going to want to rethink that part of it. So is it 1 hour of time, or is it 1 hour of work? 1 hour of time is equal to 2 hours of work with with 2 people in a work buddy. So what do you think it is? Do you think it's 1 hour of work or 1 hour of time?
A little bit confused.
Well, know how, like, if me and you are working as a main buddy team, or as a work buddy team, if we spend 1 hour, it's actually 2 hours of work.
Each 1 hour, yeah.
Because each of us are putting in an hour, so it takes 2 hours of work to do it.
So buddy teams are changing from 2 hours to 1 hour?
No. What I'm saying is that under our calculations, we need to choose between 1 hour of time for the client or 1 hour of work for the worker. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
So if we spend 1 hour for the client and we have 2 people, it equals 2 hours that we have to charge to the client, right? For all of the work.
Yeah.
So I think we need to repropose. So let's a new proposal and make sure it is clear what we are proposing. Are we proposing 1 hour of time, which is equal to 2 to 3 hours of work? Or are we proposing 1 hour of work, which is equal to 0.5 to 0.8 hours of time?
I think it is 1 hour of time, client time.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and repropose the proposal based on one. So decision, we're doing 1 hour of time. Okay.
Yeah.
So at 1 hour of time, these calculations are all wrong. So let's redo all these calculations. So 1 hour of time, so for 2 hours, at $2 per hour times 2 to 3. So it would be $20 to $30. $20 to $30 minimum. Does that make sense? That makes sense?
Yes.
So then this would be 30 to 45 minimum for worker hours, and then this would be 50 to $75.
75, yeah.
For worker hours.
It makes sense.
Cool. So, I mean, I think we want to re-propose the proposal and clarify that this is what we're voting on is 1 hour of time. That 1 hour time is equal to these values. And then, so in the previous proposal, oops, where is it? So if you look here, I voted for either 0.25 hours, 0.5 hours, 1 hour.
Yeah.
And other people voted 1, 2 hours. So we want to make sure people understand what that means. So let's, so options are 0.33 hours of time is equal to 0.66 to 1 hour of work. And we have 0.5 hours of time, which is equal to 1 hour to 1.5 hours of work. 1 hour of time, which is equal to 2 to 3 hours of work, and then 2 hours of time, which is equal to 4 to 6 hours of work. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are our options. So let's repropose those options. And I mean, we could do 3 hours as well. I think 3 hours, I don't think we're going to be doing that. But 3 hours of time would equal 6 to 9 hours. So we want to get approval on one of these proposals. And I think we just need to repropose it so that it's clear what we're voting on. Because I don't think people really understood. I certainly didn't understand.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty straightforward. All right.
Yes.
So if we can add that proposal to the Mercury proposals, and then we'll be ready to send out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So any other questions? So we certified 2 of the results, and then this one we have a better idea of what we're voting on, and we'll be able to afford that. So let's go ahead and move on to this other proposal.
Yeah.
So I want to involve the strikes, and basically there seems to be confusion about global sessions. There seems to be confusion about global sessions. So when we ask, for responses, we have global responses for people attending global sessions. I feel like what we get is if people are interested or available. That's it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So people are telling us, okay, yeah, I'm available. Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Right? That's what people are sort of implying. But that's not the goal, right? The goal is to make sure that all global sessions are professionally scheduled for worker staffing, worker staffing, right? Like that's the goal. So we're not meeting the goal. The goal is a problem, right? So I think that we could either break it up into two. So either do 2 or 3 categories. So the first one is the most important. Scheduled, right? Confirmed, scheduled for beginning of session, or early/on time. Right? So if we're paying people to be at the session on time to work, like this is not, it's not like, oh, you know, I'll just come if I can. Oh, you know, I'll show up whenever I want to. It's like we're paying people to work at the session. Like this is the job. This is what we're paying people to do, is to show up at the job at the scheduled time for their work. When you don't show up on time at work, people can get fired, right? You tell people when you're going to be late. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to be 10 minutes late because I'm late to work.
Yeah.
Right? This is not like, oh, you know, I'm 45 minutes late, no big deal. Right? It's like, no, we're paying people to be available at the time of the scheduled session because we want to be professional. And when we go public, we launch publicly, we need people on time at the sessions, ready to work and staff the sessions, because we'll have everyone from all over the world attending, right? But there's going to be a lot more work when we actually go public.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, if you're late to your scheduled work, you tell your boss, right? So right now, the way that it's going is that people are like, you know, oh, you know, I just told people if I was going to be available or not. You know, maybe I'll come, maybe I won't. You know, It's like, no, if you're scheduled to work. If you can't make it, you get someone else to fill your, you know, your slot, your position. Exactly. Right? This is scheduled work hours, right? It's not like, you know, just like under the sun, right? So that's the first category. The second category would be, you know, confirmed scheduled for the session. Not necessarily at the beginning. Right, so basically, if some people are like, okay, you know, I can make it, but I might be a little bit late, you know, I don't have exact, like, that's okay. Right? So if people are like, okay, I can confirm I'll make it, but I'm not sure exactly on the time, that's fine. But if everybody does that, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody has to show up on time.
Yes.
Right? It can't be everybody. Like we don't need everybody at every session to be a successful organization, but we do need to be professional, which means that as an organization, if we're paying 10 people on payroll, we should be able to find one person out of those 10 people to show up on time because they're scheduled for that session. All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the third would be like, you know, I'm available, but not sure if I am coming. In other words, you know, you're not scheduled.
Yeah.
You know, so this is like, okay, I'm available, but I'm not scheduled. You know, it's okay. And then there's just like, no, I'm not available and not coming. So I think that we could actually do 4 categories here. You know, that basically, well, really, this is just like, no, I'm not coming. We just do no, right? So no. There's 3 categories, right? There's confirmed scheduled at the beginning. There's scheduled, but not necessarily at the beginning. And then there's maybe available, but I'm not scheduled. If you need me, you need to let me know because I'm not planning. I might not come, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically what is the proposal. So then if you're confirmed scheduled for the beginning of the session, if you don't make it to the beginning of the session, you get a strike. Even if you come 5 minutes late, you still get a strike.
Yeah.
Because you were scheduled to be there early or on time, not 5 minutes late. Boom, strike. If you're confirmed to be at the session, you show up at least at some point, you know, maybe before halfway through or whatever it is, or you get a strike. right? If you may be available, but you're not sure if you're coming or not, you're not scheduled, you're basically saying like, you don't know, you're not really coming. That's fine. If everybody says they're not coming and they're not sure, but they might be available, then that's a problem, right? There has to be somebody scheduled to make the session at the beginning of the session on time. Otherwise, we need to reschedule or do something, right? Or we need to hire other people who are available during that time, right?
Yeah.
So that's the proposal. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Now, on like those people who have accumulated strikes, what is the minimum strikes they are supposed to have?
There is no minimum, but whoever has the most strikes automatically gets proposed to be removed from the budget.
Yeah, like two people. One person has 9. That is Zonad. Teresa has 8.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, if we propose to remove Zonad and Teresa from the budget, then that would also remove Abdul and Mamun. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we would just propose for the next month's budget, we would remove Abdul, Teresa, Zonad, and Mamun.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like none of them are really doing anything anyway, so it's like it shouldn't really be a big deal. Let's focus on recruitment. You know? So that would be a proposal. The proposal to remove Zonad, Teresa, Mamun, and Abdul from the budget. Because they have the most stress.
And we have 30 seconds straight. We are at the bottom of this.
Yeah, we should probably just take a break.
Yeah, actually.
Let's take a couple minute, like 3-minute break, and then we could come back, finish up these proposals, check in on the budget, and then we can check out.
Yeah. Okay. I'm back. Okay.
So did you have any other questions about the proposal?
No. They're clear to me.
Do you have any concerns?
No.
Any objections?
No.
All right, so this passes.
Yeah.
So it passes, but we still are going to put it into the form, the voting form, okay?
Yes.
So we're going to including confirmed schedule for beginning of session. All right. And then I would just go ahead and add this other proposal to remove Zonad Teresa Mamoun Abdul from the budget. We could also review who has the lowest budget. Do you know who has the lowest budget?
I think, is it Mam? Let me check just a bit.
It might be Mamoun.
Mamoun. Mamoun and Teresa, actually Teresa. Teresa and Mamoun.
Cool. All right. So that already does that.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through some MBE staffing, or we could just skip that and go straight to the budget?
Do we still have time for that? I think let's go straight to the budget.
Okay, let's just go to the budget. So what's any questions on the budget?
Just to check on the proposals we had and the votes.
Are we ready to do that, or do people still need to vote?
Yes, yeah, we're ready.
Okay, so yeah, copy and paste it, and we're gonna review.
Okay, I'll just copy paste them.
So it looks like option 4.
Option 4, yeah. Let me just press that.
Why did Zilu vote no? Do you know why Zilu might have voted no on option 4?
I don't know why.
All right. Well, we should probably ask him, but it certainly passes. Oh my goodness, you put all of them here. Okay, so for option 4, what we want is the number. So verified for option 4 is 6.875.
Yeah.
So 6.875. So it passes. So all these other ones, I'm just going to put as let's just get rid of. Okay, so option 4 passes.
Yeah.
Plus we have the holiday bonuses,
Yeah.
which passes. So ideally you could just add into our notes here the actual budgets themselves, okay? Just for option 4 and the holiday bonuses for the notes.
Okay.
And then the proposal for us, is to certify the HR board voting results. So are there any questions about the proposal?
No.
Do we have the final budget completed?
Yes.
We do?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great.
I'll just link that.
So no questions, any concerns? I think the only concern is why did Zulu vote no? So if you could send a message to Zulu, I would like to know that, because if there is an issue with the budget, or he has an issue with the budget, we should listen to him and hear what he has to say and try to fix it. Okay?
Okay.
All right, any objections? Or any other concerns? Any objections?
What about Mazi? It doesn't have any how we can change on their budget because they're always ranked low.
So Mazi was supposed to show up at Cobalt, and then he was supposed to be here today, but he just never shows up. So in case you get a chance to talk to him, there's two options for Mazi and anyone from high minimum wage country. Okay. So option 1 is to start by volunteering, right? Because then they can work up their hours and then increase their pay so that it all works within the amounts that are not fit in the budget. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Also, it's good to know with this proposal that we passed. So we passed the proposal for the time-based budget. All right, we're going to start putting that into our monthly budgets. I think it's fine to skip it this time since we already passed the budget. But in the future, what would happen is that instead of just the only budget being, how much work you did based on the tabulation results, we would have an additional budget that's just based on time worked. Right? So we want people's time to match their budgets. If it doesn't, that's a problem. So with Mazi, it's the same thing. Basically, he could start by volunteering and then increase his pay to make sure it fits in the budget. Option number 2 is to work out a business agreement and partnership where his pay is not connected to his hours worked. All right.
Yeah.
And then he would become part of the owner's budget. So those are his two options. Any other questions about Mozzie?
No.
All right, so let's go back to the proposals. The proposal is to certify the HR board voting results. The questions are, there was no other questions. The only concern was Zilu, and then let's go ahead and vote. So Albina and Jay, I bet it's like a 7.
Yes, 8.
So it passes. Cool. Right, consensus. All right. So let's go ahead and follow up with Abdul on that. Cool. So I think we're done. So should we check out?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to check out first?
Yes. Yeah, the session was good. I give it 6.5. 2 of us, but we went through a lot. We'll be focusing on payroll. And also, if you can take me through the W9 forms for taxes, I'll be prioritizing on that. It will be fine.
Well, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is go to the tax form spreadsheet, and then we just send out an email to everybody requesting the spreadsheets, and we have the documentation already. It's all done, and you send them the link, and then they go to it, and then they fill out the forms, and they send it back. And then
so
all
that is for employees, for internal team members.
Everybody. It'll be everybody. Yeah. So it'll be across the entire network. Anyone and everyone getting paid or getting value or equity, anything across the entire network. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
So just let me know if you have questions about it. But it all should be there. Start with the responsibility organizing. Get the responsibility organizing link all set up and updated, and then send me the link. We'll review it, and then we'll approve you to do the work.
Okay.
All right, so I thought this session was okay. 6.3. And I'll be working on Econaut partnership, mission within, Vienna client work, as well as payroll, finances, recruitment, etc., etc. Lots to work on. All right, I think we are done, and we're ending right on time. So our estimation of working 3.5 hours was correct.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Oh,
okay,
no, actually,
thank you so much.
We worked 1.75 hours. Yeah.
Okay,
bye.